All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're putting on our ancient military historian hats to analyze one of the most incredible and honestly, totally unbelievable battlefield anomalies on record. We're talking about a commander who literally took the conventional rules of 7th century warfare, tore them up, and threw them out the window. You know, when we think of legendary warriors, Hollywood mythology always feed us these larger-than-life figures, right? Guys like Achilles or Hercules. But what we're uncovering today isn't a myth. It's documented historical reality. Meet Dirar ibn Al-Azwar. This is a guy who systematically dismantled heavily armored generals while fighting completely, entirely unarmored. I mean, it sounds like fiction, but it's actually a historical masterclass in psychological warfare. To really grasp this, we have to look at the macro-level clash of combat doctrines at the Battle of Ajnadayn. On one side, you've got the Byzantine Roman war machine. They're rigid, heavily disciplined, and fielding 90,000 heavy iron infantry backed by advanced catapults. On the flip side, the Muslim forces under Khalid bin Walid are sitting at just 32,000 troops. They're relying heavily on highly mobile light cavalry and basic bows. So, on paper, that heavy Roman iron should effortlessly crush light cavalry. But as we know, warfare is rarely just about what's on paper. So how exactly did they level this playing field? Well, we have to trace Dirar's unique tactic back to its origin. And the wild thing is, it wasn't some brilliantly planned military doctrine. It was born out of pure environmental necessity. Picture this. It's the Battle of Busra in July of 634. Dirar is out there fighting in heavy iron armor, and that brutal Syrian summer heat becomes absolutely suffocating. So in a moment of sheer desperation, he just strips off his iron armor, and then he ditches his tunic too, continuing to fight totally bare-chested. Without even realizing it, he had just created a completely devastating psychological weapon. Now you'd think being completely exposed to enemy blades would make a person retreat. Not Dirar. He roars straight into the Roman lines. Fighting half-naked, he single-handedly takes down 4 cavalrymen and 6 infantrymen. That's 10 elite soldiers. Just imagine being a Roman soldier and seeing this seemingly invincible, unarmed man just tearing through your heavily armed ranks. It left everyone, his allies and the enemy, in absolute jaw-dropping shock. But here's the crucial point. This wasn't just a fleeting moment of battlefield recklessness. It evolved into highly calculated asymmetric warfare. Dirar quickly realized that the sheer terror of his appearance totally short-circuited the rigid, disciplined mindset of the Roman troops. So what does he do? He starts deploying this tactic deliberately. He's weaponizing unpredictability to literally paralyze the enemy with fear before a single sword is even swung. And it's honestly hard to overstate just how effective this was. Just a few weeks later, Dirar is out on a solo scouting mission and gets discovered by a Roman patrol. He's completely surrounded, totally unarmored, and all alone. Does he run? No way. He stands his ground and takes on 19 fully armed Roman cavalrymen single-handedly, and he wins. The survivors literally fled back to their camp in absolute terror. Now, the crazy part is that this psychological shock wasn't just working on the foot soldiers. It reached the absolute highest levels of command. When those survivors reported back to the Roman commander-in-chief, Warden, he was genuinely terrified. He actually dubbed Dirar the Naked Devil, basically saying it was impossible for mere humans to fight a demon. Dirar had successfully infected the enemy command tent with pure, unadulterated fear. So that brings us right back to the massive clash at Ajnadayn. The battle kicks off with this grueling, agonizing stalemate. Superior Roman artillery is just pinning down the Muslim forces for hours. They're taking heavy casualties, they can't reach the enemy with their basic bows, and the troops are getting really restless. Supreme Commander Khalid bin Walid knows that ordering a full frontal assault is basically suicide. He needs a surgical strike, something to shatter Roman morale and draw them out. So he deploys his ultimate psychological weapon. He sends in Dirar. What happens next is honestly a legendary sequence of events that systematically dismantles the Roman leadership. Khalid sends Dirar right into the no man's land between the two massive armies to issue challenges for individual champion combat. And Dirar ends up taking on 4 major Roman commanders in these incredibly exhausting back-to-back duels. We're talking Pallas, Petros, the governor of Tiberias, and Stephen. Let's break down those first duels. Against Pallas, Dirar actively weaponized shock. He actually rides out fully armored, but right as they face off, he strips off his armor and his shirt in plain view of everyone. Pallas, who's definitely heard the terrifying rumors of the Naked Devil, loses his nerve almost instantly and is killed in under a minute. Next up is Petros, who steps out looking to score a massive reward. Dirar just uses pure, unencumbered speed to swiftly dispatch him. It's a perfect example of Arab agility actively tearing apart Roman iron. The third challenger, though, completely different story. The governor of Tiberias steps forward, and this guy is clad head to toe in royal iron armor and chainmail. What follows is this agonizing battle of attrition that historians actually note lasted for up to 3 hours. I mean, the physical toll of a 3-hour sword fight is just unimaginable. But ultimately, Dirar's unarmored stamina and endurance prevail. The heavy, suffocating iron of the Roman governor drains him, he eventually collapses and is killed. Finally, we hit the duel against Governor Stephen, and this one perfectly highlights not just Dirar's insane resourcefulness, but the total collapse of Roman solidarity. So Stephen only attacks because Commander Warden essentially bribed him with his daughter's hand in marriage. Midway through the fight, Dirar's horse is totally exhausted. He spots a slave bringing a fresh horse for Stephen, diverts his path, intercepts it, and steals the mount in the blink of an eye. Stephen panics and flees toward his own lines, begging Warden for help. But Warden is so utterly terrified that he refuses to even move. He literally leaves his own general to be lifted by his belt and speared by Dirar, all while 90,000 Roman troops stand by in dead silence. By this point, the morale of the Roman army is just in absolute tatters. And then, as the general battle finally kicks off, Dirar pulls off a brilliant tactical inversion. He does the unthinkable. He actually puts on the heavy armor and helmet of Paulus, the very first commander he killed. Looking exactly like a standard Roman soldier, he infiltrates deep into the enemy lines. By the time the Romans realize the naked devil is hiding among them in disguise, it's way too late. He shatters their formation from the inside, taking down dozens of soldiers. It was quite literally a wolf among sheep. When we step back and look at all this, we really have to ask, what in the world fueled this kind of extreme combat endurance? How does a single man fight for hours, unarmored, against the greatest military superpower on Earth at the time? Well, a Roman espionage report actually gives us the answer. Before the battle even started, a Roman spy infiltrated the Muslim camp and reported back to his command with this exact quote: "They are monks at night and warriors by day." It was an unparalleled, totally unbreakable ideological discipline. And we know this ideological engine was the real deal because it was put to the ultimate test right before the swords clashed. A Roman bishop had approached Commander Khalid offering a massive bribe. We're talking gold dinars and fine clothes for every single Muslim soldier if they would just pack up their camp and go home. The Romans just assumed these were hungry, material-driven raiders, but Khalid flatly refused. He made it perfectly clear that their morale was built on strict justice and an unwavering belief in their cause. They were completely 100% insulated against any material temptation. As we wrap up this analysis of Dirar ibn Al-Azwar and the stunning tactical upsets of this era, it really leaves us pondering a profound historical question. You see, the Romans had the finest steel, the heaviest iron, and the vastest wealth imaginable. Dirar had literally nothing but his bare chest and an absolute, unshakable conviction in his mission. So it makes you wonder, when heavy iron meets unbreakable ideology, which armor truly protects the soldier? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope this deep dive has completely changed how you view battlefield tactics. Keep questioning history, and I'll catch you in the next one.